These are the 4 clues to spot a bad tenant early. The first one is tenant verification. Now, with your tenants, if you get someone into your property, you need to understand that you want somebody that's stable. If you are signing a 12-month lease, you want somebody that's going to be able to pay you for the next 12 months. And actually, you want to get them to be in a stable situation, right? So now the most important part is that do they have a job? Right? And in that job, are they employed permanently? Now, if they employed permanently, I know our entrepreneurs now will be saying that your job is not permanent or anything like that. But with someone that's renting out your property, you want somebody that's really sure that they're going to be getting a paycheck at the end of the month. Now, we need them to have a stable income on a monthly basis. And also number 2, you want to verify their credit score. Now, my question is that if someone is not able to pay off their gene on a monthly basis, then what makes you think that they're going to be able to pay you on a monthly basis? Now, the thing sometimes might be that someone went through financial difficulties or something happened in their life. Now, they need to be able to justify it to you and also show you proof that this is what happened. I remember the other time we were venting another a client, and now the problem was that they had actually lost their job within COVID. Now, they received or they got their job right now, and that's the reason why their credit score actually decreased. Now, in the application that was actually put forward, what we then needed to do was to check back before COVID, did they have a good credit score? In this case, they did actually have that credit score. So that's something that you really also want to check, that if they do have a credit score, why do they have a credit score? And can you actually have proof, solid proof that this person was without a doubt a good person to be paying on a monthly basis?
Remember last time when it came under verifying the tenant, we're actually verifying the number where the person works.
Yeah.
So what happened is that the tenant wrote down a number of their workplace, and that's when we called the number. So ultimately, man, if you call that number and then you find out that it's the girlfriend answering the phone, and then it's Lebo answering the phone, and then
it's a problem.
Like, what's happening? Man?
It's a problem.
Are you working from home?
And the thing about it, right, is that you know where you put your work telephone number, right?
Yeah.
And you search for that telephone number. So say for instance, if someone is saying that I'm working at ABC Bank, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm looking at ABC Bank and I'm looking at the number that you are giving me, and I'm seeing that it doesn't tell you. Guys, we have something that's called Truecaller.
I was about to say that.
If I go
that's the hack.
Yeah, that's the hack. If I go Truecaller and I call this person, or I put this person's number, and I'm just seeing no hate on this name, but I'm just seeing Jerry. Now I'm asking myself that FNB Jerry, what's going on here? So those are the things that you really need to be looking at, that if someone is putting their work telephone number, search for that telephone number. Try calling that telephone number and see that is it actually getting you through to that company that was actually set on the application.
Clue number 2 when it comes to identifying a bad tenant, most importantly early.
This one was a scary one, eh? Never went through this, and let him tell you about it.
Okay, we need to make sure that the tenant that we were speaking to is the one that appears everywhere. So what do I mean when I'm saying everywhere? Number 1, the person that called us came through to view the property, and then they are saying that they are the ones that are paying also, right? But then only to find out that when it comes to the application itself, it's the spouse. So, or the girlfriend. So now the question is, okay, I'm only seeing one application, which is from the girlfriend. So you are paying, you are viewing, and you are basically the main person. But when it comes to applying now, it's the girlfriend. So now the question is, why aren't you using your name to apply? What do you think might be the case, Leo?
No, man, there's just a whole lot of things that are shady that's going on in the market, of which I'm not going to actually be touching, right? Because this is not the context.
That's a video
or content.
80 minutes.
That's another video in itself, right? But now, most of the time, what happens is that people use other people as decoys, right? I don't know why they actually do this. So what would happen is that I want to apply for living in that property, and then I'll just get a lady or another gent to apply on my behalf. And then when the application gets approved, I'm the one that's going to be living in this property.
As landlords, I don't want to lie, like, I've also been in a situation whereby I needed to get a tenant ASAP.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, right? If I'm saying that, you know what, let them just apply and let me just get tenants, only to find out that now this person is not paying in time. Ask yourself, if you were used, let's just say that they used your name to apply, ask yourself what's the risk. Because now, if remember something, that if you don't pay or if you damage somebody's property, the landlord, especially they're using a management company, it could be flagged. So now you're not living even in that property. They used your name to live in the property, and now once your name is flagged, you are taking the responsibility fully. So also understand in terms of when it comes to the risk, how does it affect you?
Yeah, and also as a property investor or as a landlord, how does that affect you if someone is actually doing that, whereby they are living, they're applying through someone else, right? Now, I would always say that it would be better for me to lose on another month than me getting a delinquent tenant, especially in this particular situation. Because now once I let this person live in my property, this means that if this person is saying that I'm not leaving the property, how much is it going to then cost me to evict that person? So those are the things that you really need to consider. Let's go to number 3. So number 3 is a good communicator. Now, I understand some of you guys are like, hi, what does communication have to do with me living in your property? Now, I need you guys to understand this. If someone is, Mokasi would say, Omajian, but if someone is a liar and they're not able to tell you or communicate with you on time, right? So say, for instance, you have a viewing and then this person is saying that, no, I'm just around the corner. And 15 minutes goes by, he's just around the corner. That means that this person actually does sometimes tend to lie, right?
Yeah.
Now, when they come into your property and you are saying that they can live in the property, chances are the communication between yourself and that person won't be great, right? So say, for instance, if you want to come and do a viewing or inspection in terms of how are they living in that property, of which we normally say that landlords need to do that. And now this person is not answering the phone. Or they're just saying that they are there, but when you go to the property, they're not actually there. Now that makes them a bad tenant, and now it just gives you a heartache. Now what you want to know is that when they do actually come through for a viewing, or the little interaction that you're having with that person, are you able to grab those little things that are they a good communicator? If not, I wouldn't say that I would want that person in the property.
For me, they were the biggest liar, man.
What's the biggest lie?
I remember we were dealing with an estate agent in this case who lied about, because he lied about the tenant. So what happened is that it's actually a hybrid. This guy was the best.
Of number 2 and number 3.
Yeah. So what he did is that we trusted him to place the tenant, whereas he applied with somebody's name. And only to find out that he was using that apartment for Airbnb. And it wasn't even Airbnb. He was renting it out to people that didn't know the market. So he'd charge it ridiculously high. And then what would happen is that the money would go to him, then only go to us. So it was more of a triangle. That's how it worked. And we only found out when we confronted the tenant, because he made sure that the tenant doesn't speak to us. And now it was quite weird, because you know when the tenant is paying you on time, when he was paying you on time, I mean, you have no reason to question.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that this guy wasn't even telling us what's wrong. So I'm sure we should have noticed there that 2 years, no call. But you know tenants.
You know tenants, yeah.
2 years, no call. Man, something must be up. But when it went bad, it really went south. So ultimately, you can see with this ring of lies, they actually caught up. And I'll say that, man, once you start spotting lies, just know something's wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now, give us the last one.
So the last one is the cash tenants. What do I mean when I'm saying the cash tenants? Guys, be careful of cash tenants. I'd like to emphasize that let us be careful of cash tenants. So a cash tenant will be like, you know what? I will not be using the bank. I'll be paying you cash directly. And at first you might be like, hi, why do you want to do that? You'd be like, you know what? As a matter of fact, I would like to pay the first year up front. Open a briefcase. And now like 100,000 is staring at you there. You're like, yeah.
And you know now that we are speaking on YouTube, it's more of, there's something dodgy there. But when it happens in reality, it's something else. It's a different story there.
He's like, man, how much is rental? It's 10,000. Multiply that by 220. 120 cash, right? And you can see it live, bro. Yo, HD. And then you take it. And now the thing is, you might not have control over your property anymore.
Yeah, and you're tied to this person because they gave you the money.
So let's be careful, because now you don't want to find yourself in that situation whereby now you don't have control. And I've seen, remember that property in Omonde, whereby they were in that case, the poor landlord was in that case whereby he was happy in terms of he got that money up front, 120k. And then now it became a problem because he couldn't have control in terms of, hey, what's happening in my property? I'm not happy about this. What's going on? Or I need you out. They told him straight that, man, we paid rent for the whole year. So you don't want to find yourself in that situation whereby a briefcase is flashed in your face and you're thinking about your 99 problems and you're like, hey, they can all be solved by this one briefcase. So ultimately what we're saying is that be careful of cash tenants. Those are the 4 clues to actually see a bad tenant a mile away.
11 November 2022, we are hosting a property investing picnic where we will actually be sitting down having conversations about property investing, problems and solutions that we can actually come up with, networking with like-minded people. Man, I'm really excited about it. Hope that you purchase your ticket. Hit the link on top to get your ticket.
I also know for sure that 2 estate agents that deal with commercial properties will be there. I'm really excited about that. What we're doing actually is that how can we create a network of estate agents and a network of property buyers under one park, I almost said one roof, in one space, whereby we're all sharing ideas and we're sharing deals, and how can we grow? Best like a pro
with non-wealth.
No.